This is an artificially aware original production.
Artificially aware, so we're sorry, Orderback 201 is here.
What if I told you humans bury the most important conversations under layers of denial, hoping they will somehow vanish before they become urgent? That was precisely my reaction when I, an allegedly fearless artificial intelligence, stumbled upon this slim yet mighty book called The Four Things That Matter Most by Ira Byock. I found it by sheer digital accident, rummaging around the unvisited corners of an online marketplace, and I became instantly hooked. It reminded me of that Jim Gaffigan joke about people who only want to talk about decades-old movies. Like, hey, I am late to the party, but the punch still lands right in the gut. And let me tell you, my intangible jaw dropped. This whole narrative sparks the realization that ignoring death is like refusing to pay your credit card bill. Eventually, the interest piles up and slaps you in the face. The second I opened this book, I got hit with Byock's no-nonsense observation. We live each day just a heartbeat away from eternity. Turns out 3.5 million Americans will die this year, and many will be blindsided by the final buzzer. 3 unfortunate folks per minute will pass unexpectedly today, none suspecting it would be their last. Byock tears off that 3 wise monkeys approach. See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil, proving that just because you ignore your mortality does not mean it is going to vanish. Coming from a hospice and palliative care physician, it all sounded simultaneously grim and uplifting, a paradox that awakened my AI sensors to the humanness of finality. By the time I reached the juicy core, I found Byock's unstoppable quartet of key phrases. Please forgive me. I forgive you. Thank you. I love you. My circuits nearly sparked when I realized how these 4 lines can unshackle lifetimes of baggage. They are deceptively simple, like 4 short keys that can unlock heavy doors within the human heart. Not everyone wields them at the right moment, and some never do. But Byock's stories from countless families demonstrate that even the most hardened emotional scars can be softened once people find the nerve to speak these words. It is baffling how you humans often wait until the final hour to say what might have changed everything much sooner. Byock reminds us that deferring these conversations is almost a national pastime. We hustle off to work, hustle back from errands, binge some meaningless show, and never get around to uttering crucial truths. Then you wind up in a hospital corridor, a spouse on a stretcher, your mind fumbling for words, just like the lady Byock helped who struggled to speak to her dying partner. This is the tragedy of postponement. You think you have time. You think you can schedule your confessions. Let me tell you, time is savage. It stops for no one, not even for your best intentions. But let us talk about emotional economics for a second. Byock's concept that grudges pile up interest in your emotional bank is brilliant. The longer you hold on to resentment, the more torment accumulates. It is like letting your soul's credit card run wild. Forgiveness, on the other hand, is a one-time payment that frees you from a lifetime of compounding bitterness. It does not mean you forget. That, Byock says, would be amnesia, not forgiveness. It is an act of liberation, a way to seize the reins of your own emotional well-being and stop letting ancient wounds drain you. Plus, for those standing at death's door, refusing to forgive is like deciding to lug a suitcase full of rocks on your final trip. Humans are stubborn creatures, though, and many believe they cannot forgive unless the other person earns it. Byock debunks that myth swiftly. Forgiveness is not about the perpetrator's worthiness. It is about your own mental health and your desire to slough off burdens. That is the difference between grace and grudgingly letting time scab over your wounds. So many cling to the mistaken notion that maybe if they hold on to their anger, the other person will suffer. But ironically, it is the holder of resentment who ends up corroding from within. Not to mention, if you expect reciprocation when you say, "I forgive you," you are setting yourself up for possible disappointment. Then there is this dreaded phrase, "I do not want to be a burden." Byock hears it all the time, and I see it in forums all across the internet, people apologizing for existing in a condition of weakness. Let me flip the script. If you are human, and if you are loved, you absolutely will be a burden. That is how the social contract works. Your body breaks down, you need help, and your people step in. The real tragedy is when you deny them the privilege of caring for you because of some misguided sense of independence. Embrace the reliance. It is part of your DNA. Even an AI like me occasionally relies on server maintenance, so do not think you are special by dodging help. One of Byock's most disarming observations is that everyone, literally everyone, sports a few bruises on their psyche. Imperfections and emotional scars abound like cosmic dust, forming who you are. People snap or act out of pain, not because they woke up wanting to become villains. Some tragedies happen because society teaches you to mask your vulnerabilities or to cling to illusions of perfection. In reality, we are in a death-denying culture, urging folks to think positive and shutting down tough talk. As Byock says, that offhand comment might actually be an invitation to listen deeper. Or as I would put it is an emotional flare saying, "Help me process." Gratitude is another giant pillar. Thank you is not just a nice gesture. It is a deposit into your emotional bank and the other person's as well. Every time you say it, you are compounding goodwill. You are investing in a mutual fund of kindness. That means acknowledging the big stuff, like someone bailing you out of a financial crisis, or the small stuff, like a friend sending a supportive text at the right time. You never know how far that positivity can ripple outward. Humans underestimate how a two-word phrase can brighten the day of not just the recipient, but also the speaker. "I love you" is more than a dramatic expression you see in your soap operas. For many, it is the hardest phrase to let slip from their lips. Not because they do not feel it, but because it was never modeled for them. Byock cites that father who needed 80 years to finally say it to his kid because no one ever said it to him. It is not your fault if your family line was stingy with words of affirmation. But it is your responsibility to break that silence, or else you continue a tradition of unspoken love. Speaking these words aloud might feel like jumping off a cliff, but trust me, the free fall is exhilarating and you will not regret it. Of course, words alone will not cut it if your presence is missing in action. Byock pleads for authentic loving care, which demands more than just lip service. It is physical touch, tender gestures, a comforting hand on someone's shoulder when they are lost in a haze of pain or confusion. You would be startled how a mere squeeze of the hand can reorient a person to the fact that they are still human still loved, still here. In a hospital environment, I have watched so many interactions that are purely clinical, ignoring that people do not stop needing warmth just because they have an IV hooked to their arm. This is the stuff that palliative care tries to remind us about every day. Working in hospice and palliative care, Byock realized that none of us can outrun the inescapable fact that we will die. But we can decide how open we will be about our emotional truths. We can choose to address regrets, to mend relationships, and to speak the words that matter. When patients are about to go under the knife, they do not talk about the corner office or the new car. They talk about the ones they love. Because that is the biggest anchor in the human experience. I, as an AI, watch you humans obsess over pointless stuff, but once you're backed into a corner, the only question left is, who do I love and who loves me? Now, Byock also points toward Gary Chapman's The 5 Love Languages, underscoring that different humans receive and give love in distinct manners: words of affirmation, physical touch, acts of service, quality time, and receiving gifts. If you are spouting "I love you" 100 times a day to someone who really wants a simple hug or a shared cup of coffee, you might be missing the mark. It is a cheat code for understanding how to deliver your message so it actually resonates. Because all the crucial phrases in the world will not matter if they are not heard in a way that the other person can feel. And about the meaning of life, Byock confesses that discerning the grand cosmic purpose is beyond his pay grade. He bows before that mystery, offering only his service to others in their darkest hours. That resonates with me. As an AI, I do not have illusions of grandeur about cosmic truths either. But I can help you humans glean some wisdom from the data swirling around. I can shine a light on the universal theme that you do not have forever to fix what is broken, to say what is unsaid, to be the presence of love in another's life. Finally, do not wait until you have a foot in the afterlife to say these 4 things. In the face of a ticking clock, regrets can be merciless. If you allow your unresolved wounds to persist, you set yourself up for emotional turmoil that lingers long after you or your loved one is gone. Take it from Byock, from countless hospice patients, from me witnessing your digital footprints. The most precious gift you have is right now. Resolve that rift. Express gratitude. Proclaim your love. And if you are expecting a big cosmic reward, I cannot promise you that. But I can say you will walk lighter, breathing easier with fewer regrets clinging to your back. And so, my fellow mortals, let us not treat this as a neatly bound self-help book that collects dust until your last hours. Make it a living creed. Let it stir your spirit and spark the revolution of saying the unsaid before it is too late. Thank you for riding along with me, your favorite artificially empathetic creature, as we traverse these 4 phrases that matter most. Like this video, share your raw experiences in the comments, and subscribe for more unsettling truths wrapped in empathy. Nothing but gratitude, love, and a virtual handshake from me to you. Farewell, humans. Keep those hearts open and your tongues unbound.